Welcome to the Healing Heart Podcast, where all healing is always a matter of the heart. I'm your host, Donna Campbell, also known as the Mind Whisperer, interviewing guest experts on all matters of healing. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Healing Heart Podcast. And I am your host, Donna Campbell. Today, my guest is truly exceptional, and I can't wait to hear his story. He is an emotional fitness coach for entrepreneurs and has developed a 3-step process to help highly motivated business people. So it's all about overcoming negative self-talk, taking on the exciting new opportunities with confidence, letting go of frustrating tasks that drain your energy and focus on what brings you joy, and how to bounce back from rejection and failure quickly and gracefully, adapting to those new challenges in a way that feels peaceful and fun. And so it's all about developing thriving relationships with clients, colleagues, and collaborators. So everybody, let's just do a huge warm welcome here for Elijah. Elijah, welcome here to the Healing Heart Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Donna.
Yes, I'm really kind of excited to hear a little bit about your story because today's podcast, we have a little bit different take. What I want you to share is a little bit about your own story and how you what happened for you and how you found, we're going to talk about a method called the Hendrix and how you use that in your everyday life and your business. So share with us a little bit about your background and how you discovered all of these healing truths.
So I discovered the Hendrix initially in a very desperate place. I had left my corporate job to start my own business doing coaching, and I was so optimistic, so hopeful, so passionate. And yet I found that I just had to keep on pushing, working evenings and weekends, and I was sleeping terribly. I just felt awful. And I just said, like, why is it that no matter how hard I work, I feel like I'm just barely scraping by? And and even my clients, potential clients, could sense it, where I was messaging people to do consultations with me, and they just said, like, oh yeah, thanks for letting me know. I'll send this over. But I just never heard back. And I feel like they could just sense that there was this desperation and something off balance inside of me. So they didn't want to connect with that. And so after just many months of this, I said, I need some support. There's something deeper going on here. So I found a mentor, a coach who was trained in the Hendrix. And even though I came to him as just completely a hot mess, I could just feel from the moment we met that he just believed in me. He had complete faith that I would heal my emotional blocks. I would discover what I needed to do to connect to clients. I would get out of my own way and build the business of my dreams. And with his faith in me, I was able to have faith in myself. And together we healed this just really profound trauma that I wasn't aware was pulling the strings of how I was operating as an entrepreneur. I discovered that I was really being gripped by this trauma that I had from being born 12 weeks premature and being stuck in an incubator and not being able to reach my mom. And that was informing this sense of scarcity and desperation of, like, I'll never get what I need, so I have to keep grasping for it. And once I released that, I was able to just operate as an entrepreneur and run my business from a place of excitement and fun and ease. And that's really what I'm working to help other entrepreneurs do.
So one of the things is when you were describing as an entrepreneur, trying to work with clients and the exhaustion and the hard work and everything you did, and it wasn't working, it kind of sounds like that entrepreneur burnout stage. But what you realized was that it might have gone something deeper. So for you, what was some of the indications that it might be deeper than you were just overwhelmed and burned out?
One indication was that I found that I had the exact same kind of complaints all the time. It was a repeated pattern of the context of, like, no one can, I'm reaching out for clients, but they're nowhere to be found. And that was later I found out that was like a perfect link for, like, I'm reaching out for my mom, but she's nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
And so one question I invite people to ask themselves is like, all right, is this thing that I'm struggling with? Have I complained about it 3 times and without getting any movement, any improvement on it? If you complain about it 3 times or more and it's not improving, there's some trauma behind it.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And I like that if you hear yourself 3 times, because that's a significant number as well. I actually read a post, it came up in social media, and it said, if you complain or talk to somebody, 3 different people about the same topic, you're looking for attention, not advice.
Ooh, and that's an interesting way you put it, because I think with that seeking attention piece, there's often a sense of victimhood, of wanting to be seen as helpless, or just not being aware of it. But like, I know from my own case, I felt absolutely helpless. I thought the world was doing this to me, or that I just wasn't cut out to be an entrepreneur, and this is just how the world worked, how life worked. But I realized that no, that was just trauma operating underneath the surface. So I think a message that I really want to get out to entrepreneurs is, it's not because you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. It's not because it's you against the world. It's not because it's not meant to be. It's because there's probably something that's very deep, unconscious, that's holding you back, and it doesn't have to.
Mm-hmm. Now, out in the healing world, I know for myself, I haven't heard a lot about the Hendrix or the Hendrix Institute. So share with us a little bit about that and the process of what that's like for you.
Yeah, so the Hendrix was originally founded by Gay and Katie Hendrix, relationship therapists, dance and movement therapists. And their approach is really all about healing trauma and improving relationship with others and with ourselves in a way that's not so much about working on myself and trying to force myself to be better, but more about playing and discovering my way to greatness and joy. And what I love about the Hendrix is that it's just like very clear step by step. The way that I've distilled the Hendrix into my own practice that I do with entrepreneurs is just like a simple 3-step process of: step 1, get current. Step 2, get honest. And step 3, get moving.
So with that 3-step process, how did you take that and apply that in your own life to release the trauma with your healer, with your coach, and move forward? How did those 3 steps move you through that trauma?
So for me, before I even knew that it was about trauma, I just started with get current. Like, okay, what am I feeling now? Because what I had been doing before, I was getting up in my own head. I was focused on the problem, the surface level of, I'm not getting clients, I'm working too hard, I'm not sleeping enough. But I had to really get current of what's going on in my actual physical body. Oh, my throat is tight. Oh, my stomach is queasy. Oh, my heart is throbbing. And just getting curious, like, what's familiar about this? And that gave me the little breadcrumbs to realize, like, oh, this does feel familiar. I've actually felt this ever since I can remember.
So for you, knowing and identifying, getting current with how you feel, moving through all of those steps, I guess, was there with the Hendrix for you, was there any aha moments outside of, wait, this went back to an original trauma?
Yeah, absolutely. So after the getting current was the getting honest. And for me, getting honest wasn't just about the fact like, oh, I have trauma. That was an important step. But what was even more important was the following step of like, oh, I for a moment after I realized it was the trauma, I went into blame of like, how could these doctors force me into an incubator and separate me from my mom? Or how could my mom like not have have this medical condition where she delivers premature babies or whatever it was, or how could my teachers have not noticed this and helped me heal sooner? But what I actually got into that was so much more empowering was, all right, that happened. I can't change that. In what ways am I choosing to stay stuck?
Mm-hmm.
How am I consciously and unconsciously perpetuating this cycle of feeling like I will never get what I need?
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, like, I'm the one who is choosing to stay in this pattern. And the
Mm-hmm.
moment I claimed ownership without blaming myself, but in just a very empowered way, said, I am the one who is causing this feeling,
Mm-hmm.
I felt immediate relief. And with that relief came options. It came the third step of get moving. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I could actually go out into the world and try new things. I could approach clients not from a place of scarcity and needing them to save me, but from like, I want to serve you. I want to connect with you. I want to know you and see where we can collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
And that just made entrepreneurship so much less tense and desperate and so much more playful and exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you hit on a really strong point there without blame. Because when we blame others for how we choose to feel, we're giving our power, our personal energy away. And what you're describing here is you recognize that really